Dear audience, good morning and warm welcome to the seminar on Museum for All, Strategy of Sustainability of National Museum of Korea. This seminar is being held jointly by Bangladesh National Museum and Bangladesh National Committee of the International Council of Museums in abbreviated forms by BNM and ICOM Bangladesh. We are very pleased to have Mr. Mohammad Kamruzaman, Honorable Director General of Bangladesh National Museum, as the chief guest of today's seminar. Without his kind patronization, this program could not get such prestigious platform. The seminar is going to be presided by Dr. Sufi Mustafizur Rahman, Professor of Archaeology, Jahangarnagar University, and an Honorable Chairperson of ICOM Bangladesh. Dr. Kiran Bey, Emeritus Professor of Anthropology, Hanyang University of Republic of Korea, is today's keynote speaker. Without his kind consent, to materialize this seminar could not be possible at this moment. Ms. Asma Ferdowsi, the keeper of public education in Bangladesh National Museum and Vice Chairperson of ICOM Bangladesh, will convey the vote of thanks. I am Mohammad Sharaful Islam, Deputy Keeper of Asan Manjil and Secretary of ICOM Bangladesh, will remain with you as the anchor in today's seminar. Now is the time for floral reception of the guest. At this part of this program, I request ICOM member and emerging archaeologist Ms. Chaf Sultana Ratna to receive our chief guest, Mr. Mohammad Kamruzaman, with flower bouquet. Then I request Museum intern Jyoti Paul to receive the chair, Dr. Sufi Mustafizur Rahman, with flower bouquet. Now I request ICOM member and assistant keeper of Bangladesh National Museum, Ms. Shushmita Vishwas, to receive the keynote speaker, Dr. Kiran Bey, with flower bouquet. Last but not least, I request student of archaeology, Mr. Firdaus Al Hassan, to receive the vote of thanks conveyor, Ms. Asma Ferdowsi, with flower bouquet. Dear audience, dear dignitaries, our chief guest, the respected Director General, will hand over the this part already has been done. We, the members of ICOM Bangladesh, are much delighted to convey our heartfelt congratulations to the Honorable Director General of Bangladesh National Museum for his kind initiatives to make this museum as institutional member of ICOM. A big clap for him. Now, the sticker and ICOM card will be handed over by the president of this program, Dr. Sufi Mustafizur. It is our immense pride to mention that when I, as the Secretary of ICOM Bangladesh, sent demand request of ICOM stickers for the members to Paris, mentioning that Bangladesh National Museum has become institutional member of ICOM this year. ICOM headquarters, being much pleased, issued membership cards without counting amount against each card. Generally, cards are issued after the payment of membership dues by National Committee to Paris. Thanks to ICOM for showing devotion and respect to our National Museum. Our chief guest is also a new individual ICOM member this year. Dear dignitaries and dear audience, how we will proceed if I do not mention the historic month March, which paved the way to our many museums in independent Bangladesh in 1971. Again, greetings of March to you and humble respects to the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and four national leaders, including all who had much contributions to create this sovereign motherland. How will we step forward if I do not introduce Dr. Kirong Dey, the keynote speaker, with you? Possibilities prevail that many parts of his presentation may be missing. Though initially I introduced him as Professor of Anthropology, his acumen accommodates multidisciplines. He has served the Asia Pacific Regional Alliance of ICOM, that is ICOM ASPAC, as the chair, and now is serving the same as the honorary chair. He is also the director of the Institute of East Asian Archaeology and coordinator of Global Citizenship Forum. More significantly, served National Museum of Korea as the Director General so far as I know. Now I humbly request Dr. Dey to come to the podium for his kind presentation. Dr. Dey, please, the podium is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Islam. It's a nice introduction I ever heard. Yeah. Good morning, anyways, before that, yeah. And first of all, I have to thank to the Director of the National Museum of Bangladesh and ICOM chair of ICOM Bangladesh to invite me to this special place to give us some lecture about my experience of museums in the past. This is my first visit to Bangladesh, but I have a friend from Bangladesh for a long time, and this is a really postponed visit to Bangladesh. And as archaeologist, I'm a priestly archaeologist. So in priestry, you don't have any national boundaries. So when you do some to try to understand the cultural pattern of the vast area, so you can see the continent and you can see globe. So at that time of observing some human culture during the priestly times, always Bangladesh is one of the key area for my studies, because in the east of Bangladesh, eastern part of the Indian subcontinent, and the western part is dramatically different, and Bangladesh is a mixed zone. So I wish to visit Bangladesh, but this is the that I dreamed of to visit Bangladesh. Anyway, thank you for your welcoming me and place the talk at the National Museum. This is a really historical moment to me and honorable to see you and to give my museum experience to you. I worked for the archaeology more than half century, and also I worked for the museum for half century, because when I was first a freshman in the university, I started in the student for the archaeology. I started my work at the University Museum. So it was a real tough time for me. You can think it's 1971, the Korean situation. It's a much, maybe some primitive stage of the countries. It's a really tough time for me, but as a kind of start of my archaeology and the museum life. So in the end, anyway, a few years back, I was a director general of the National Museum. Before that time, I established one of the public museums at the archaeological site, and I was the director of the university museums. So it's my experience as the director of museums is quite long, and I worked for the ICOM for a long time. Also. So I was the Secretary General for the ICOM Seoul 2004. So it's a kind of my experience of international communications in the museum field. This before me there are some ceremony to give some ICOM memberships to the Director General. Is it right? Yeah. So when you hold the ICOM card, when you travel to the foreign countries, you have a really special privilege to visit museums. One time is at Louvre. When I go to Louvre, when I took up a taxi, I was so surprised, so long lines of people waiting to get in. But there is one empty entrance. So I go there, show the ICOM card. Oh, you host. So like a king, yes, I stepped into the Louvre, smiling to the people in the lines. Yeah. So make yourself feel good. Yeah. So ICOM is very important, especially in this stage of the world, because the ICOM cultural heritage and museums, that is a profound means to communicate between people, between culture. So although there are so many wars and conflicts all over in some part of the world, but the unity will come from the museum and the cultural heritage. So one of the reasons to visit the Bangladesh this time is to promote, communication over the culture, over the national boundary, people in the other side of the national boundary through the cultural heritage and the museums. So I'm the president of a Global Citizenship Forum, so that I created 10 years ago. That is a kind of a forum, the men's gathering to promote communication between the people with a different culture. Yeah. So I think the museum is the best way to do such a thing. So even though museum with the architect, museum with no architect, open air, that is sometimes the museum in your mind. So that is really museum is needed desperately for our next stage. So my thinking is reflected, anyways, during my directorship of National Museum of Korea. I try to make a big platform of museums for such a thing. So the museum for all, which means all individuals, all peoples, all culture. So all means many. So I try to establish some kind of new concept and a new practice of museums during my directorships. I didn't complete, but my descendants will go on, and in the end, I think they will be able to accomplish some part of it, not all. So the subtitle from museum for culture to cultural museum for people, that you can understand. Usually museums, people, ordinary people, I think half of the people in Korea, they don't understand the museums. They don't know where the museum is. So one time I was a professor of, still I'm professor of the Hanyang University, the biggest university, private university in Korea. So some professors came to the National Museum, maybe 100 professors. I told them, how many of you been here? Just 25%. So professors, even professors, they don't come to museums. So if you go to the rural area in Korea, grandpa, grandma, do you know museums? Nobody knows. Museum, that I told you, this is a kind of really good place and needed place. However, people don't know. Up to a certain point of time or past, museum, that is a place for collections. It's a place for collection. Collection is important. Collection always, it is a basic aspect of museums, and also you can make many different things from the collections. But collection stored in the storage room doesn't mean anything. So even Korea, almost at the end, the last century, 1980s. So museum professionals just sitting on the chair and they have a key of storage room. So, okay, as long as we keep the collection safe, that's fine. That's the minimum thing for the museum curators. So they don't care how many people come in, what they need. But social change now is changing everything. So during the last 25 years or 30 years, the dramatic changes, the role of museums in the society. So now we need to construct cultural museums. Cultural means not the cultural heritages. So cultural means kind of, new concept of museums, new culture of museums for people to understand how it. So it's kind of a cultural service. So now is you understand the core point of my presentation. And okay, oops. Okay, here you can see the architecture of the museum. So before I start, I would like to show you a little bit of the landscape of inside of the National Museum of Korea.
Space for all. Here in Seoul, at the center of Korean culture, is a museum complex located between Namsan Mountain and Yongsan Family Park. It is a cultural space with excellent accessibility for all. The outdoor exhibition area, in perfect harmony with its surroundings, allows the visitors to appreciate traditional Korean landscaping. Visitors can have a better understanding of Korean history and cultural heritage in 6 permanent galleries. From the Paleolithic era, which shows the oldest traces of humanity, to the Three Kingdoms period and modern Korean history. Our collection presents the meaning and value of Korean cultural heritage and shows the beauty of Korean craftsmanship, Buddhist culture, and ceramics. In addition, the immersive digital gallery, which uses virtual and augmented reality to realistically present cultural heritage contents, provides visitors with new views and opportunities to experience Korean cultural heritage. We are always open. We offer rich cultural experiences for everyone through a wide variety of contents. Our children's museum and diverse educational programs help people of all ages to gain a broader perspective on the world. We now also operate Studio M-On, so that anyone can access the museum's various educational contents online. And various facilities and resting areas are located throughout the museum to make your visit more convenient and enjoyable. Furthermore, we host exhibitions in collaboration with various foreign institutions, while introducing our cultural heritage all around the world. Elevating the national status with culture and knowledge. Here, we explore 5,000 years of Korean history as we seek to create a better world through understanding of our culture. For everyone and for everywhere, a museum for all. This is the National Museum of Korea.
Yeah, I'm still primitive in the digital technology, so please be understood. Yeah, okay. My English is short, so I start with my videos, so please understand. Yeah. Okay, so let me summarize the video presentation here. Now you can understand the location of the National Museum in Seoul. So actually, the museum is located downtown. It is also part of downtown, but is the center of downtown is north of the museum. Actually, the museum is the southern stripe of the Yongsan National Park. Yongsan is a place for the U.S. Army, and previously, now it's moving out to another place, but it's a U.S. military army station for a long time, maybe more than half century. So they move out, and the empty space is designated as the national park, and at the southern end, the museum located. So it's a little bit inconvenient for the people living in downtown and for foreigners, because it's a little bit outside of the downtown. However, you cannot find a big size of a piece of land to establish a big museum. So that is the best choice for the National Museum at the time. So right now, so you can see the area, and the size of the building is huge. So probably the total size may be 300 meters or 400 meters at the length. So too big size to the people. So I try to change the image of the museum, but it's not possible right now. And also the exhibitions and the space is 26,000 square meters. So huge space for the exhibition hall, which means lots of things the curator should do. That crazy things, you know. And you can see the location, and the gray dot is there. At the Seoul, you can see the characters that is Namsan, north of the Namsan, the upper area. You can see here, there is a Gyeongbok Palace. That is really center of the Joseon Palace. That is the center of Seoul. So it's compared to the area here, quite it's the southern end of Seoul. So mission of Korean National Museum in Korea is anyway, the basic thing is a collection of cultural heritage of Korea and preserve it well. And that's for kind of a national identity of Korea. We have a very we have a very bad experience of colonialized, so it's the Japanese colonial period. So most of the Korean people, they try to have some kind of nationalism in our history. So it's when you see our museum, you can see whole story of national history. You can see. So that is intended for the education for the youngsters. Yeah. You have to understand your history through our cultural heritages. So there is a basic mission, the fundamental mission of national museums in Korea. Yeah. I think in most countries, more same, but national museums under the Ministry of Culture, Tourism, and Sports. So national museum is just a small part of the ministry. However, ministry also consider museum is very important for keeping culture, promotion of culture, and the promotion of tourism. So there are many national museums in Korea. The museum, Museum of Archaeology and History, there is the museum that I control, the National Museum of Korea, that representing the National Museum of Korea, showing the Korean historical archaeological heritages. So Central Museum in Seoul, and we have 13 branch museums in regional area. So it's a control of all the Director General of the National Museum. And there are many national museums under Ministry of Culture, the Korean Alphabet Museum, and folklore museums, and modern art museums, many different fields of culture. And also there are all national museums under different ministries. The National Museum of Money, National Museum of Commerce, National Museum of the Ocean, such as things is in the National Museum. So many national museums, but the most important one is the National Museum of History and Archaeology. So the first museums in Korea is 1909, established by the last king of Joseon Dynasty. So it is a history of Korean museums a little over the one century. So the museum, the modern concept museum, started in 1945 by the U.S. military government systems. Since the times most of the history of Korean museums stayed in the Gyeongbok Palace, in the palace of Joseon Dynasty. The small building for the museums. But it is sometime 1980s is the first time the government constructed a museum, a building for museums. But to 1990s, we had some problem. One president, he is really against the Japanese colonial history. So National Museum was housed in Japanese colonial buildings. So the president asked the order, destroyed that building, and you have to move to how the Korean heritage in the Japanese colonial buildings. So you have to construct new buildings. So they began to build new buildings. That is the Yongsan Museum right now. So developing is ironically developing museums not by curators or cultural head, etc. is a political situation. You know, changing of political situation is a bring new museums and new systems. So now is a much better museums than before in Korea. So it changed a lot. This is 1909, the first museum in the Joseon Palace, and right now Yongsan 2005, the President Kim Young-sam, he designated this museum and opened in 2005. So 10 years for construction. 1995, it started about 2005. It opened. That's the opening ceremony. You can see. And 2005, that is a kind of a big change, a kind of innovative change in the national museums. So the first thing, huge museum compared to the previous the buildings. And also there are many different departments within the university, within the museum, and probably 3 or 5 times of curator steps than before, and children's museum inside. And also you have your own garden in the museum. There's big change. And also the promotion of visitors. So Cultural Foundation, Museum Foundation was created by the government. So curators, they can focus on the curating, but is some social service done by the Museum Foundation. So total changed, and it also very meaningful. 2005, there is around the time digital technology innovations. So mobile phones, very common mobile phones, and smartphones started in 2007. So that is a very critical time of change, technological social change. Is leading to modern days. So now we are discussing about the AI system for the cultural system. But anyway, that time 2005, there is a coincidence of new museum opening and also social demand different. So there is our history, and now is at the later part of the 20th century, everybody talk about the 21st century is a cultural century of culture. So they say, and the industry, you can see some here. Industry changed, the machines, the mass media, and the information. Now intelligence. Okay, intelligence, digital intelligence. There is a current stage. What will be next if the digital technology move to the AI technology? So there is a big question to the people who specialize in culture. So museum professionals, they are specialized in culture. So what we need to prepare for future, there is a big question to museum planning. So the changing, many people say it's an age of information, age of intelligence, age of communications, such a thing.